ways.
Is there a certain price point? Let's say that for people, whatever you want to call us, coaches, mentors, sellers of information, whatever have you, business instructors. Is there a certain price point that you see people use who make $100,000 plus a month, or
Um,
is it all different price points?
yeah, I would definitely say if your goal is 100,000 a month, you need to have at least one or multiple offers in your offer suite that's $10,000 or better, right? Of
Mm,
course, the higher the better, right? If you said 100,000 a year, you could have get away with like a $2,000 offer in your offer suite or better. But yeah, if you legitly are like, I want to make 100,000 a month, you need to have at least one or multiple offers that are $10,000 or more. That doesn't have to be everything you sell, right? You could still have your $10 ebook, your $50 course, but you need to have one offer that's like that. I think people don't know the difference between, and I'm talking about not just the buyers, but the people that's selling it, because it was years before I realized what's the difference between a book buyer, a course buyer, a mentee, and somebody that needs a coach. Can I break that down for them real quick, Dre, in case they don't know?
cook.
All right. So if you just somebody that says, hey, look, if I had the information, I would change my life, right? That's when you buy a book, right? If you say, okay, I need the information, but put it in like step 1 to step 10 to get the result. Now you a book slash course person, because depending on who the author, some authors might write their books in a step-by-step fashion, but you really get that when you buy a course. They'll say, first do this, then do that, do this, right? So a mentor and a coach is only necessary, and I'm saying this to me and Dre's detriment because we do mentorship and coaching too. If you don't need an accountability partner, you don't need a mentor or a coach, just to be real with you. So now, what's the difference between a mentor and a coach? A mentor says, here's all of the information. Here's step 1 through 10 to get the result that you want. And if you have problems along the way, you reach out to me. I'm your lifeline of somebody that's been there and done that before, right? So a coach, on the other hand, I like to say a coach is built to behind, Dre. So a coach is checking up on you. A coach is saying like, hey, look, what you ate today, right? We talking about health and wellness. What you ate today, right? Hey, look, I need to see that. Put it on this spreadsheet on the Google Drive so we can see it. In business, they might be checking on you once or twice a week. Hey, look, how your ads looking? How your funnels looking? Did you do your webinar this week? Right? Hey, why didn't you make that offer today? Hey, are you planning your Father's Day sale? Right? Are you planning your back to school sale? Right? So they might be checking on you at least once a month. I know some that do it as much as twice a month or once a week, depending on the program, right? If you're doing something that's more hands-on, they might do it more frequently than that. But the point is like, if you know for a fact, I done bought books and courses in the past, I got a lot of information, but I still ain't got to my goals yet, right? I paid for mentorship in the past, and I felt like, yeah, the person gave me the steps, gave me the information, checked in on me a little bit, but I wish there was somebody that was more hands-on. But I'm gonna be honest with you, you gotta know your personality type. If you ain't a built to behind type of person that's motivated, right, then hey, you would hate coaches. All real coaches, you'll be like, man, like I hate it, right? So what's the dude CT Fletcher, if I ain't mistaken, in the health and wellness space, right? I think his slogan is yo MF and set, right? Everybody can't train with CT. You know that guy? Yeah,
I think he's up there around you, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. I think he out
Yeah.
in Cali now. Oh, unless he
Okay.
moved recently. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, but everybody, like, I was in the Marines before. I was raised by a single mom that had 5 kids to raise, right? So, like, if you not motivated by, like, hey, I'm gonna keep you accountable on a regular basis, right? You would hate a coach. So it depends on what you need. And of course, as you go up the ladder, the more expensive it is.
Mm. I had someone else in mind. There's another guy. He be fat shaming, man. He's
Uh,
effective. So you hit it on the head with that. And one of my best compliments that I get is some people, a good amount of people, don't like me at first.
why?
You know why?
Why? Yeah.
I'm pushing them past the breaking point,
Hmm.
and it's like a thing. Andre, you know what? At first, Andre, you know what? At first, it's usually women. If I gotta be real, I didn't like you at first. I thought you were over the top and pushy, but then I realized yada yada yada,
Yep.
and I realized that's a badge of honor
Yep.
because you are paying me, and I am pushing you past the comfort zone.
Yep.
I am pushing you to do things you haven't done before. I'm pushing you to look at your past failures.
Mm-hmm.
Where have you gone wrong? Because with most people, there's a point where they go wrong. Now, JT, I think it's when they get bored, when they get overwhelmed, and when they aren't making money. All those three are one of those three. And I realize that if I can get you to making money, or even getting phone calls or leads in as soon as humanly possible, the chances of you quitting or pivoting before you need to pivot drastically change.
All right.
I remember I was at a conference speaking with Erica, and a lady in the crowd, she was like, "You know what, Andre? I didn't like you." I was like, "Oh, okay." She was like, 3 years ago or so, I told her that I don't think she can do it. I don't think she, yeah, something
Dre don't
along
pull
those
no punches.
because of her habits, because of what she displayed. I didn't think she could do it, not intellectually,
Mm-hmm.
but her habits showed otherwise. And I was like, was I right? She was like, yeah. And I was like, and she said that she's made since then, I think $300,000 a year.
Awesome.
But that conversation, so I'm cool with having tough conversations, which is why I don't try to be buddy buddy with people who hire me. It happens organically sometimes because I need to be able to tell you exactly what I'm seeing here,
Mm-hmm.
where you're going wrong, and your pattern and your patterns of behavior. Because our patterns tell everything, JT. Our
Mm-hmm.
patterns and our habits expose everything we need to. Now, you do a lot of interviewing, but you don't do a lot of
Yeah.
interviews. Are
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
are you not asked? Is it intentional? What's your
Nah. It's really it's no logic behind it. I really just be in my own mode. So my thing is, I obsess. I learned early on in business to obsess over the customer. So I
mm,
definitely don't mind sharing my story on my platforms or whoever would have me on their platforms. But I'm more interested in like what does the customer care about? So okay, like nobody wants to hear about, well, if you struggling, let's frame it. If you struggling, nobody wants to hear about JT staying in his 3-story house with the art gallery in it, right? And his friends buying $300,000 cars, and JT money problems is, hey, this is too much money to move. So how do we move large sums of money, with the least amount of risk, right?
mm,
So what I tend to do is typically say, okay, realistically, what's the average person that's tuning into me? What are their needs, and how can I serve them at that level? But definitely not against interviews or nothing like that.
okay, gotcha. Um, Ask me a question.
All right. Okay. Why? Like, well, first I gotta set it up to make sure the question makes sense. So, okay, do you have a current financial goal or anything like that you're trying to reach?
Yeah, I want to make in real estate. I want to net $6,000 to $8,000 a month in the next 18 months. I want to make 150 consistently a month with my businesses. Those are
Mhm.
two. Those are two that are top of mind currently.
Okay. All right. So cool. So that's perfect. So the question that I have is, what what switched you from thinking in terms of 6 figures to 7 figures? Because 150 a month, you well over $1 million a year. So what happened? Because a lot of people, the magic number for some reason is 10K a month. People will be like, man, if I get to 10,000